Welcome back to State of the Union. That was cheers for President Trump, jeers for Prime Minister Netanyahu. My panel is back with me now. Scott, I'm going to start with you. You've been wearing that pin for 2 years and 4 days.
Yeah, it's a great moment. It's the most historic moment for the Trump presidency. I was in Israel this summer and met with some of the hostage families and the mother of one, Alon Ohel, and you know, when you meet with these people, you realize just how broken their lives have been and how they've been running around the world trying to maintain visibility for the hostages. And they're going to finally get their family back. I worry about the hostages. I worry about what condition they're going to be in. I think in the case of Alon, I think there's a belief that maybe he's blind in one eye and he's been injured. But I don't know what's going to happen after this. You know, internal politics in Israel, maintaining the peace and finding a way to de-radicalize a lot of radical people in the Gaza, but it's going to be a great, great moment for the world when these hostages finally come out. And honestly, if not but for Donald Trump, I don't think it would be happening. And I'm very proud of our president because it shows what an engaged and pragmatic leader of the United States can do on the world stage.
The human toll of this has been devastating and has rallied people around the world in a way we haven't seen before. Yeah. Israeli hostages, Palestinian victims, 60,000 plus, 20,000 children. And the idea that the United States power up until now, up until Trump, had not been really put on the line to put an end to this. There were negotiations and discussions, but the challenging of Bibi Netanyahu's agenda came from within Israel and had been. They've been consistently saying they want hostages released, end the war in Gaza. You have in the United States a massive sea change about how people feel when 60% of American Jews do not think Israel has been handling this war the right way. And so for the United States to really just step in and say to Netanyahu directly, this is on you, you need to make some different choices, is very different than I think how we've seen the previous administration behave. And that is what creates change, American power being used to save lives.
Well, yeah, President Trump definitely has a lot more sway over Bibi Netanyahu than perhaps Joe Biden did. But you also have to have lots of other factors, including the Arab world being ready to step in and step up. And that also is happening.
Well, sure. And President Trump has sway over Bibi Netanyahu because he backs Bibi Netanyahu. The two of the men are so close and trust each other so much. And so, you know, it's too bad to hear boos from those Israelis who want the hostages to come home, because I really think Bibi Netanyahu was key in this. And you needed to have him at this time and place to have this close relationship with President Trump. President Trump also was very supportive of Israel doing what was necessary to get to this point, going after Iran in a significant military campaign after their key facilities, eliminating Hezbollah, going after Hamas. President Trump did not restrain Israel. So you had to get to this point where you allow the Israelis to do what was necessary, and then you come in and work with the Gulf partners to make deals with them, and then put pressure on Hamas so that we can get to the first point to get the hostages.
The challenges that Israel did overstep with in this belief that they had free reign, going into sovereign territory of Qatar twice, not once but twice, without warning the United States, which ultimately undermined the negotiations of last year. It resulted in the show of Trump putting Netanyahu in a
but by a lot of accounts, it was that attack inside Qatar and the fact that it didn't go the way Israel thought it was going to go that gave President Trump and his administration an opening in order to make that happen. But I do want to kind of bring it back to the United States as we talk about what's happening overseas and kind of the split screen. And Maureen Dowd highlighted just that, the split screen. She said, you can't get, and this is about the Nobel Prize, you can't get a medal for promoting democracy when you tried to overthrow the democracy you were running. Trump seems oblivious to the paradox of enforcing peace abroad and disrupting it badly at home, of soothing violence overseas and inflaming it here.
This is the challenge of the Trump presidency for so many people. And for the record, Joe Biden also was a big supporter of Bibi Netanyahu. It got him in a lot of trouble with Democratic constituencies. He declared himself a Zionist when he went to Israel. He talked about he and Bibi being close friends. So he got him in a fair amount of hot water among the Democratic constituency. I will say at the same time, the problem that we see is on one side is Donald Trump solving or doing a great job in bringing people together around the world around some of these peace issues, while at the same time dividing people at home. And I think for those of us who I don't root for Donald Trump's failure. I root for Donald Trump's fairness. He's the most powerful political president of my lifetime. Imagine what would happen if he decided to use that power to bring Americans together to solve some of our major problems, like health care, which the Democrats are standing up for in this fight over the budget and over the government being open. Imagine if he did that. Imagine if he brought our allies together around the world instead of fighting people with tariffs against Canada and the EU. He's disrupting people on one hand and then solving problems on the other, which makes it very hard for a bunch of people to rally around him.
It's not disrupting. He's the President of the United States. He was elected last November to execute on a policy agenda on which he ran. And so he's doing that. And we'll have another election next November, and then we'll have another one after that. And the people who get elected, and the people who get elected will execute their policy agenda. When I see Maureen's words, essentially what she's arguing is that because I don't like some of the things Donald Trump has done or been involved with over time, the rest of what he's able to accomplish is illegitimate. And I think this is one of the problems on the left, is that they've
Well, I think she just was talking about a Nobel Peace Prize.
So the President of the United States goes in and solves the most complicated crisis in the world, ends a war, brings home hostages. As you yourself said, this has captivated the world. And if not but for his engagement and his interpersonal abilities here, I mean, who else would you give it to? And to me, it's only because she's decided that everything about Trump is illegitimate, and therefore this is for the American people. It wouldn't be just for him. It would be for the American people.
But the American people, in fairness, we're going to get there. The American people, though, also don't want to see pastors being, they don't want to see pastors being pepper sprayed in their faces while they're standing outside praying. That is a very bad image for someone who declares himself a peacemaker.
Okay, but we're talking right now, again, on getting these hostages out of Gaza, which was something that I look back and I just think you have a genocidal group, which is Hamas, who is exploiting the situation and maximizing suffering in Gaza. How do you even negotiate with them? It took President Trump and his unconventional approach to getting the Arab states really to pressure Hamas. And until that happened, we couldn't get here. So his relationship with Qatar, his relationship with the Egyptians, and his close relationship with Bibi, it is incredible. It's monumental. We should stop as a country and take the moment to recognize that President Trump actually achieved what nobody else could do. Yeah.
Imagine if you used that power to bring us together.
We're
and you all said,
you
all said, let's hope, with the peace in the Middle East, from your lips to God's ears, as they say.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.